you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger.
I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage. And he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know.
Boxing experts believe Jake Paul has no real chance against Gervonta Davis. Shakur Stevenson said that even though Jake is bigger, it won't help him win because Tank's skills and experience are on another level. He thinks Tank won't try to knock Jake out since he's too big, but will still outbox him easily and win by decision.
Between these two guys.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just gonna go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way you could, any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even, and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is, he's been boxing his whole life. Been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's gonna be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just gonna knock that guy out. So I see him like outboxing him.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out? Although more likely that it is, like you just said, a decision.
Nah, I don't see him knocking him out, no.
Will you watch, Shakur? I mean,
no.
Obviously, no?
Hell no, nah. That ain't really like, I mean, like I said, here's the thing. Like, I got two sides of me when it comes down to, I got a business side, then I got a competitor side. And from the competitive aspect, it don't excite me for me to be like, okay, I want to watch it.
Showbiz the Adult explained that Tank Davis has already proven he can handle taller and bigger fighters like Ryan Garcia. He reminded everyone that Ryan was not only taller, but also faster and more explosive, yet Tank still figured him out and beat him clearly. The YouTuber said that if Tank could close the distance against Ryan, who had real boxing skills, then Jake Paul won't be much different. Jake's size might look like an advantage, but Showbiz said boxing is really about timing, distance control, and ring IQ, things Tank is great at. He added that Tank has mastered reading opponents and setting traps, and once Jake gets in the ring, Tank's skills will show right away. Chris Algieri praised Gervonta Davis for his ability to attract huge attention every time he fights. He said boxing today is not just about skill, but also about who can bring fans and excitement back to the sport, and Tank represents that new era. Whenever Tank steps into the ring, he creates energy that excites both hardcore boxing fans and casual viewers. Algieri also mentioned that Jake Paul, even though he isn't as skilled, has helped make boxing popular again by bringing in new audiences who wouldn't normally watch. He believes both Tank and Jake are good for boxing because they draw attention from different types of fans.
The face of boxing could be Jake Paul soon, and the face of boxing is basically. Yeah, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again,
Truly,
these are created
after this
products.
fight.
These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and then making funny faces. You know what I mean? And then it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
The world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate.
Okay,
it's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, a great fighter and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set and all over your phone and all over everything. You know what, bro? You're gonna start to get curious about the shoe.
Charleston White said Jake Paul's boxing career is just entertainment made to look like real boxing. He believes Jake's fights don't feel genuine and are more like staged shows meant to get views and make money. According to him, Jake hasn't faced any real top-level boxers who could truly test his skills and stamina. Charleston's opinion reflects what many boxing fans think, that Jake is using boxing for fame, not as a true sport. He added that if Jake ever fights someone like Gervonta Davis, the difference will be clear because Tank's training, speed, and experience would expose Jake's weaknesses. For Charleston, real boxing legends are made through real fights, not exhibitions.
YouTube boxing and what people say is going on in the media, without a doubt, I think Charleston White is 100% right about that. Don't believe anything you hear. Don't believe anything you see. Wait to see how things play out, and ultimately everything will come out in the wash. Well, going into this fight with Gervonta Davis, I had my concerns about the fight because of the same type of reasoning that Charleston White used, except for mine is slightly different. I don't think that either one of these guys are going to try to do too much damage to each other. Number one, because if it's scripted, which more than likely to an extent it will be, Gervonta Davis is not going to put himself in a situation where Jake Paul is going to actually be able to hurt him. And with these 12-ounce gloves on top of Gervonta Davis's hands, which is bigger, 2 ounces bigger, I do believe.
Teddy Atlas, one of boxing's most respected voices, compared a possible Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight to when Logan Paul faced Floyd Mayweather. He said that while Jake may have the size advantage, Tank's experience will be the real difference. Atlas described Tank as a fighter who moves like a dancer, controlling the rhythm and pace of the fight. He explained that Tank has faced tough opponents throughout his career and developed the instincts to break down anyone, no matter their size. In contrast, Jake lacks the sharpness and awareness needed to compete at that level. Atlas added that boxing isn't about size or muscles, it's about precision, timing, and control. And with Tank, every move and every punch has purpose.
I liked this when I heard it. No, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter, he can punch. And he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what'll wind up selling it. The what if. What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're going to find out if he can dance. Whoa, 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 whoa. You know, do the cha-cha. That's what's going to sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else. They just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have to bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if? What if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air? Bang!
Showbiz the Adult also talked about Gervonta Davis's personality outside the ring. He said Tank might not be the best talker or businessman, but that's not what makes him dangerous. His confidence comes from growing up in a tough environment where strength mattered more than words. Showbiz explained that Tank's body language at press conferences shows everything. He never looks scared, nervous, or pressured. When he faces his opponents, his silent confidence speaks louder than any trash talk. While Jake Paul is great at promoting fights and using the media, Showbiz said Tank's presence doesn't need marketing. His energy alone does the talking.
Tank Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage. And he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know. It's kind of like taking a guy from the block and putting him in the corporate world in a business meeting. He's going to be so out of his element that he's just, he doesn't even know how to argue without sounding like, I'm going to whoop your ass, I'm going to beat you. The way Jake was doing things, he had the clowns coming out.
Not everyone thinks Tank can beat Jake Paul. Some boxing analysts remind fans that weight classes exist for a reason. They say Tank's power and speed are amazing at lightweight, but fighting someone much bigger like Jake is a different challenge. In boxing, size and physics matter. A 135-pound fighter going up against someone over 190 pounds faces big disadvantages in reach, strength, and toughness. These experts believe that Tank's punches might not hurt Jake the same way they hurt smaller fighters, and even if Tank lands clean shots, Jake's bigger body might be able to take them better.
We want to know, who will win in this fight? Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think. You got
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
Yo,
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank too little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. At weight classes for a reason.
Davis
that weight class for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
Dog.
He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70-pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. A 135-pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30-pound, 20, 30-pound difference, bro, if you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30-pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is going to happen versus Jake and Tank.
Despite the criticism, many fans still find Jake Paul's presence in boxing entertaining. His fights bring both excitement and debate, adding curiosity to the sport. Some boxing purists call it a money grab, but others believe he brings fresh energy and new viewers. Jake has a special ability to get people talking, whether they like him or not. Every time his name is linked to a fight, it grabs attention. Fans watch to see him win or to see if he'll finally lose. That unpredictability makes boxing exciting again. Even traditional fans admit that Jake's presence adds drama and personality, something the sport has been missing, even if his boxing skills are still growing.
People said, this is bad for boxing, this is bad for boxing. Mate, calm down. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of him, but he's bringing a lot of eyes to boxing. He's doing great for boxing. I don't care what everyone thinks. The weight difference is mad though. Lightweight to, God knows, cruiserweight or whatever the hell he is. Oh, Gervonta might get thumped up, you know. Hey, if he gets bashed up, I can never go on TikTok live again. The TikTok warriors are going to give me a hard time. They're going to say Jake Paul's undisputed. Oh my God, he's the best thing since sliced bread.
British boxer Dave Allen shared a more balanced opinion about the fight. He said he didn't enjoy Jake Paul's previous matches with Mike Tyson or Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. because they seemed like publicity stunts. However, he thinks the fight with Gervonta Davis could be different. Allen believes that as long as no one gets seriously hurt, it's fine since it's an exhibition meant to entertain fans. He admitted that Jake isn't a world-class boxer, but his fights still get people talking and bring attention to the sport. Fans are curious to see how far Jake can go and how Tank performs against someone much bigger.
Exhibition. Thing with Jake Paul, I think he's a good area title level fighter, and that's a good level. Like, and you can be proud of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good, but. And the Mike Tyson fight I didn't like. The Chavez fight was just farcical because he's 10-11 year past his best, up 6 weight divisions. But less of a problem because Chavez wasn't in his 50s. Fighting the MMA guys, again, he's fighting people that don't do the same, that they're not even in the same sport. But while they're a bit older, they're still not in the 50s. So all that stuff. I won't really watch any of it. Didn't really. I think I've watched one fight against Tommy Fury, the only professional boxer in and around his prime years, and he got beat. But I think his area title level. I think he works really hard. I think he trains hard, and I don't think he's a bad fighter at all. I don't think he's I don't think he's a good fighter, but he's not a bad fighter. For his experience, he's not bad at all. But Gervonta Davis is a lightweight. So, by all means, if they make a few quid and nobody gets hurt, then great. But I certainly wouldn't be paying a penny to watch it. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous, farcical. Who wants to watch an exhibition? Gervonta Davis is in his prime years. Why is he wasting his time? Why is he having a rematch with the fella he got a draw with? Why is he not fighting?
This fight didn't just come out of nowhere. Reports say Gervonta Davis has mentioned Jake Paul several times over the years, teasing a possible matchup. Fans have long wondered if it would ever happen, and now the talks are becoming real. Both fighters have exchanged words online, showing interest in settling things in the ring. Tank is confident he can expose Jake's weaknesses, while Jake sees this as a chance to prove he deserves respect as a real boxer.
Yeah, you're seeing what I'm seeing. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. I don't buy it for a second, but apparently they were in negotiations to have this fight happen if Tank Davis beat his previous opponent, which obviously ended in a draw. Which means he's obviously going to go and rematch Lamont Roach in his next fight. But come on, Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a cruiserweight / heavyweight. Tank Davis is a lightweight. This is Jake Paul's mindset. Okay, I'll fight a legit professional boxer, OAP. I'll fight a legitimate professional boxer who's his age, loses. Okay, I'll fight another professional boxer who's half his weight. Honestly, I don't care how big Jake Paul is, I genuinely do think that Tank Davis would beat Jake Paul. I think Tank Davis would be too fast, too slick, outbox him, move around. He wouldn't knock him out, obviously. I don't think he'd knock him out because of how big Jake Paul is, but he would outbox him 100%. But anyway guys, let me know what you guys think about this potential fight. I really hope it does not happen because Jake Paul needs to fight a legitimate pro who isn't a taxi driver, who isn't old, and isn't half his weight.
The main debate among boxing experts is about power. Gervonta Davis is famous for his knockout power at lightweight, but many wonder if that same power will work against someone as big as Jake Paul. Tank's punches can easily stop fighters his own size, but facing a much heavier opponent changes things. A shot that could drop a 135-pound fighter might not even shake someone close to 200 pounds. Analysts say Jake's size, reach, and toughness could reduce Tank's impact. This doesn't mean Tank lacks skill. It just means his usual strategy might not work the same way against a much bigger opponent.
Because yes, Floyd didn't have the punching power Gervonta had, but even if Gervonta lands, I don't see him hurting Jake to the point he knocks him out. So what are we even doing? Where's the idea of this where's the idea that Gervonta is even gonna hurt him? He may hurt him to the body, whatever. Jake doesn't want to throw as much, but I don't see him one punch knocking Jake out. And, the same thing was kind of said with Logan. Like, okay, Floyd probably won't knock him out, but probably going to outbox him. I get where Dana's coming from. These things are not meant to be competitive fights. They're meant to make money and to, I guess, scratch that itch of the circus mystery unknown.
And Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than fucking Floyd, but he's too small. I mean, your brother's going to be able to, get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up. But I don't hate your brother. Your brother's out there doing his thing. But it cracks me up that they want to start suing people that are talking shit when your brother talks more shit than anybody talks.
I think the thought process behind it is, okay, so Jake and I are obviously pretty polarizing individuals, and when an echo chamber starts and a rumor mill starts of like staged fight bullshit, which like these fights aren't staged, that's just, it's at that level, it's like almost impossible. I think they think that it affects the business and it affects the brand because people discredit him as actually having legitimate bouts. I think that's the theory. So to hold people accountable for
legitimate,
perpetuating the rumor.
Legitimate meaning not fixed.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And
which is, I mean, again, Dana would do the same thing if his company became known for doing fixed fights when they weren't. then he would try to find the same way to hold people accountable if they were reputable people saying that, right? So again, the whole Jake suing people for blatantly trying to say he fixes fights or he stages fights or people have no knockout clauses and all the other bullshit, I understand. Now, again, people need to use their words more accurately if they're upset about what Jake is doing. All you have to do, if you're upset with the way Jake is moving in his career, is say what some people do say, which is, we like to see Jake challenge himself. We don't want to see these exhibitions, these fights that don't make sense for what you said you want to do or what you purport to want to be in the sport of boxing, which is a world champion. We want to see you fight active fighters around your skill level. That's it. But you can't go on there and go, oh, look, another rigged fight. Oh, look, another fake fight.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and stay informed. Stay tuned for more updates, and let's keep our news accurate.